Apologies for technical difficulties. Give me just 1 second. All right, so our show platform here, apologies for the delay there. The website is actually show.getcleardigital.com, and our dashboard here gives us a quick little rundown of some device stats in the top right corner. And I can see what devices are active, which devices are online, and which devices are offline currently. If I go to how to add a device, this is actually how I get started with my show software. So I click on how to add a device. And this gives me a quick 1, 2, 3 step on how to get into device management and get my device onto my account. So if I go to the how-to guide here at the bottom, it'll actually give me a full run through of the use of the show software. But to get started, when I go to the add a device section here, when I first open the show app on my device, I'll get a 4-digit PIN code on the screen as shown here. And all I have to do is go to my device section here on the left-hand side under device management and go to devices there and then click add a device. And that is where I enter the 4-digit PIN code. And that will get my device activated on my show account. And then I can begin to get content on that display. So to get content into the show platform, I'm first going to begin with bringing my own media, my own content into the show software. So I have the ability to drag and drop files like pictures, videos, etc. Anything from JPEG files, PNG, SVG, etc. Even MP4 video files, WebM, and GIFs. As long as I'm within 250 megabytes, I can bring in any sort of media that I like. And then it ends up in my media section here. So if I go to my media, I have a library of all the things that I brought in here. As you can see, I've currently organized mine into some files. So if I go into my files here, I can see what I've got stored there. So I've actually organized mine based on orientation, because of course my screens can be oriented in portrait or landscape mode. So in order to more easily identify my content, I've organized it as such. And I've also got just some additional pictures and media down here below there. But this is basically my collection of everything that I'm going to be creating my presentations with. And what I'm doing basically is putting together a slideshow or a presentation with this content. I'm able to edit it, add things like text, animations. We can even add widgets like weather widgets, news widgets, etc. But this is where it really all starts. So on the left-hand side of my navigation bar here, under media, is kind of where my journey begins with the show software. So once I've got media uploaded, I can also click on browse here and bring in my own content from my computer. Or we also have integration with Unsplash and with Pexels. So we do have stock content available as well. So if I go to Unsplash, I can actually search for specific images. So we'll just say waterfall, just for example. And this is where I can see images that fall under the waterfall description. So I can quickly and easily bring in content without having to start from scratch. If I go back to my dashboard here, there's also a quick guide on how to create this content. Again, referencing the adding a device section earlier, I have the ability to go through this guide and go through the quick 1, 2, 3 step here on how to add content. But again, this is where it starts under the My Media section. And once I get into my media and have my content loaded, I can then begin to assemble a playlist. So when I go to playlist over here on the left-hand side, this is where I can start compiling my content. So I've got started on a playlist here previously. So if I click on this playlist here, I'm able to edit it. I can do things like change the background color here in the top left corner. If I want to change it from a black background to orange, etc., I can change whatever color I like. I even have the ability to add a custom color. So if I want to use my color dropper here, I can click on this icon and choose an element from the photo I'm looking at and change the color of the background accordingly. But just the same, we'll go ahead and stick with the regular black background here. And my slides are compiled down here at the bottom in a list of different slides here. So I've only got 2 currently. If I want to add a slide, all I have to do is click the plus sign on the left side. That'll create a blank slide for me here. And then I can click on my images, templates, or videos over here on the left-hand side. This is where all that media ended up when I downloaded it earlier into the computer. If I go to my images and click see all here, I can go to my images and click see all and see the entire list of folders and images that I showed earlier. And I also have access again here to pixels and Unsplash. So I have stock content available that I can search through as well. Once I've got my content brought into the slide, I just click on the image that I want to use. And if I don't like the image, I also at the top toolbar here, I can delete the media. I can assign different animations to it if I want to. I can adjust the position. So if I wanted to move this left, I can align it left with the slide. I can put it in the middle of the slide as well and just adjust it as I want to. Also, if I wanted to resize this image, I have little circles here in the bottom corner that I can resize the image with. And then of course I can recenter that image as well. And adding text to it or adding objects to it is very simple. On the left-hand side here, I have my text option. I click on text. I can type in anything I want. Let's just do blue skies. With this text, I can also choose what my text style is. Up here at the top, I have my fonts. Right now it's in sans serif. I have a whole list of fonts that I can choose from here. We've actually added some additional fonts here previously, and we're continually adding new fonts as SHO develops. And I can just click on an option here and it'll change my font for me. I can also choose the size of the font. I can make it bold, and I can even center align the text if I want to. So if I want to change the color, I also have the option to click the font color in the top left corner. I can change the color to that. If I want to reposition it, it's just as simple as clicking and dragging. I can drag this text wherever I want to drag it to. And if I want to assign an animation, these are some additional new features for SHO. Over here in the left-hand column, under Animate on Entry, I can have the text fade, slide, zoom, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the spin option here. And this will have my text rotate, kind of like a spindle would do. And if I want to see what it looks like before I actually send this content to my screens, I can click on preview. And we'll do preview from the current slide so I can see exactly what this slide looks like. And there's my spinning text there. What I can also do here is I can add things like widgets. So if I want to see my local weather, on the left-hand toolbar here, I click on weather widget. And I can click on the actual widget itself, and my options to adjust that is in the top toolbar. I click on widgets here. I just type in my location. We're in South Carolina, of course, so I'll click on that. And I can also adjust the opacity of it. If I don't like that white box, if I want it to blend in a little better, I can click that checkerboard box in the top left corner and drag it down to 0 so it blends in a little better. I even have the option to change the font color if I want to. I'll leave it black for right now. And then I can click and drag this wherever I want to put it. I'll leave it here in the top left corner. And if I preview this slide, I can see the active information, 66 degrees and partly cloudy, beautiful day here today in Greenville. I can also add a news widget on the left-hand side, again, under my widgets. If I click on the news icon here, I just have a stock placeholder for right now, but I can drag this wherever I want. And to get an RSS feed for your news widget, when you click on widgets in the top toolbar, you can adjust where this information comes from. So by default, it just pulls from the New York Times RSS feed. But all you have to do is get an RSS feed from your desired source, whether it be local news, national news, etc. Almost every news page will have an RSS feed available to choose from. All you have to do is copy and paste that link into this box here, and it will pull from that information. So I'm going to leave it at New York Times for right now. But what I do want to do is adjust the opacity of this so it blends in a little better. So again, with the widget selected in the top left corner, I'm going to go to change the opacity. I'm going to bring it down to 0 here so it blends in a little better. But I also want to change my font color. So I'm going to click on the text color next to it. We'll adjust this to white. Now it's easier to see. Now what I can do is go to preview and take a look at this slide first before I publish it. And preview from the current slide. I can see my news widget here in the bottom right, weather widget top left, and I have my text in the center. What I can also do is a recent update for SHO is we've got the ability to bring in stock videos as well. So previously I mentioned that we have stock content from Unsplash and Pexels, but besides just still images, we can also add videos. So if I go down to my slides here in the bottom of my screen and click the plus sign, I now have a blank slide to start with, but I want to bring in a video. So on my left-hand toolbar here, I'm going to go to videos and click on see all. And I want to click on Pexels because I want to search from their library of videos. We're just going to search, let's look for puppies. Puppies are cute. We'll take a look at those, see what kind of videos they have. And I can select any of the videos here from these search options. And this will load onto my slide for me. And there's the video. Again, I can resize this video if I need to, make it smaller, make it larger. And if I go to position in the top toolbar, I can put that video exactly where I want it. So if I want it along the left-hand side, maybe at the bottom, I can move that as well. Now what I can also do again is go to my background color, change the background color if I want to. And again, I can go over to my left-hand toolbar here, go back to my text. I can add text here. And I can drag this wherever I want. Now, I also want to draw attention to the fact that you can change how the text aligns within that box. So I have right align, center align, left align, etc., even within the actual text box itself. I can resize it. I can create an angle and rotate it if I want to. Whatever I want to do for this text, I can adjust it as needed. So once I've got a presentation or a playlist put together with the media that I've compiled, I have to make sure that I click publish in the top right corner. So once I click publish, it'll now be available as a playlist to choose from. So I've activated my display with that 4-digit PIN code. I brought my media into SHO. I've added a few widgets, some videos. Now, how do I get this playlist on my actual display? So along the left-hand side, I'll go back to my device management where I added that device previously. I can now go to my devices. Let's just search for previous devices I was working on. Type in the name there. And I'll go to the Neo that's here at my desk. And on the right-hand side, I have an ellipses menu. I'll click on that and click on properties. Now here's a quick and easy way to schedule your content. You have a calendar in front of you that shows you what days and times your content's playing. And to actually get that content on your device, on the left-hand side of the screen, I have where it says assign a playlist. So I already have one scheduled from working with it previously. I can click on this October SHO demo playlist and remove it if I want to. And now my calendar's blank and my display is blank because there's no content in my schedule. But if I want to re-add it, I can click the drop-down list over here and assign that playlist that I was just working on. And once I click on the October playlist here. It'll allow me to assign it to my display, so my October show demo. I also want to mention that there's two options to assign this playlist. Now that I've created it and I've got it selected here, I can select play now, where it'll play on demand, or I also have the ability to schedule this playlist. If I want it to play on a specific day, I can click on my start date and choose exactly what day the playlist actually starts. I can even choose exactly what time I want it to start. So this will come in handy when you have multiple playlists or multiple signs or images you want to show throughout the day. If you want something to play in the morning, something different at lunchtime, and something else in the afternoon, you can choose times here and stack playlists on top of each other if you want to. I can also assign a repeat schedule. So if I want something to play on specific days of the week, I can adjust that as well, like Mondays and Tuesdays, etc. So I can assign this however I want to. For today's sake, I'm going to go ahead and click on play now and then click save. Once I've clicked save, it appears here on my calendar now, and my display is now showing that playlist that I've created. So if I want to add an additional playlist, all I have to do is, again, go to my drop-down list here, find a playlist that I want to add to it, and now I want to schedule it. But look here, it says playlist needs to be published before being assigned. So as I mentioned earlier, when you're creating your playlist, you want to make sure you click the publish button. But even if you happen to forget to click publish, there's a publish now button here on the right-hand side. So once I click that, that playlist is live and I can now send it to my displays. So if I click on schedule here, I want this playlist to start on Thursday. Let's start it tomorrow. And I've also got all days selected, but if I want a specific time, I can uncheck the all day option and then choose exactly what time tomorrow I want this to start. Let's say 12 p.m. I want it to go to, oh, let's just say 6 p.m. So if I click on save, it now shows up on October 31st here, and it's going to run until 6 p.m. that day. And if I make a mistake here, if I schedule the wrong playlist, I can always click it and click on delete and remove it from this calendar if I need to. So that covers getting a device activated, getting content brought into SHO, some of our new animations that you can assign when creating a playlist with that content, and then getting it assigned to your device. Before I move on any further, do we have any additional questions?
I'm not seeing anything in the chat.
Okay, no worries. So we'll continue on. A few more things I want to cover here within SHO, besides the widgets and animations. When it comes to actually managing the users who have access to your SHO account, if I go to my left-hand column here, again, my toolbar there, and I go to users, I can assign who has access specifically to what roles. So if I want somebody to only be a device manager, I only want them to be able to activate or remove devices, I can assign them as a device manager. Likewise, if I want somebody just creating content, like just putting together playlists, bringing in media, etc., they can be my content creator. Now, what I can also do is create what's called a staff role. And my staff role allows my users to be able to do both of those things in terms of device management and content management. So I'm able to add and remove devices, add and remove playlists, bring in content, etc. But that's all my staff is able to do. Now, on the inverse of that, if I want somebody to have full access over the account, to be able to add and remove users and do content and device management, I have my admin role. And then, of course, the top access role here is owner, and an owner can do all of that in addition to assigning admins. So I can really have finite control over exactly who does what within the SHO account, and I can assign those roles accordingly. One thing I also want to mention, some additional upcoming features tomorrow. We'll have the ability in our messages section over here on the left. Tomorrow, there's going to be an option to turn on and off device notifications. So I mentioned previously in the dashboard that I have a status section up here in the top right corner of my screen. When a device goes offline or comes online, I also receive an email notification to let me know the device has come online or gone offline. Tomorrow I'll have the ability to add or remove that function. If I don't want to get emails every time a device turns on or off, I can turn that off and turn it on if I want to be up to date with that as well. We have a bunch of new animations coming tomorrow as well. We're also going to have the ability to add what's called Crashlytics. So if we have any sort of issues with SHO, anything kind of funny happening there, the Crashlytics allows us to analyze the SHO app if anything has gone wrong, if the app crashes, etc., and send that report to our developers and pinpoint exactly what the issue is. Now, the analytics runs in the background. There's nothing you have to do but to turn it on. And if a problem arises, it'll report that immediately. So there's no work on your part in having to report the actual issue. So between the new animations, the device notification, the Crashlytics, and quite a few other improvements we show tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of new stuff to play with as well. So on that note, we do update SHO once a month. That's the last Thursday of every month. So when we have new features, fixes, new animations, new text, etc., those will all be updated the last Thursday of every month. So SHO, of course, is a growing platform. So even as it sits today, with as easy as it is to use, all the tools that you have at your fingertips, we'll be adding more on a monthly basis. So all that said, any additional questions? Looks like we don't have anything in the chat.
Not seeing anything.
Okay, good deal. All right. So as far as the SHO app's concerned, the one last thing I wanted to mention is that SHO is included on all of our digital devices. It comes preloaded on our Evo, our Neo displays, and we even have the SHO stick, which will allow you to plug in an HDMI, kind of like a TV stick, to any device that's not Clear Digital. So if you want to turn a pre-existing display into digital signage, it's as simple as plugging in the HDMI device, and that will communicate with the SHO software and turn your display into digital signage quickly and easily. But if we don't have any other questions, that's my presentation for today. And I appreciate everybody's time and attendance today. Thank you for coming aboard and talking about SHO.
All righty. Well, thanks so much, Wyman.
Thank you guys so much. You have a great day.